So I heard you've got a new Mac. Good for you. Welcome to the Mac. Now you're probably wondering, how on earth are you creating a new text document on a Mac or moving files from one place to another, and why does that scrolling feel totally unnatural to you? I'm gonna tell you all about it and much more in just a second, so stay tuned for that. I've put together a list of about 20 tips for you, split in two parts, in case you're a new Mac user and especially if you're coming from Windows, because as you're gonna see, some things never change, but some things do.
There are some things in this world, Captain Niobe, that will never change.
Niobe.
Some things do change.
And some things are different on a Mac compared to a Windows PC. And if you stick around to the end, I'll also have a bonus tip for you. Alright, let's do it. Let's start by adding right click. Not that the other one was the wrong click, I mean, it can be the wrong click, but anyway. So let's add right click, or as Apple likes to call it, secondary click. For that, we're gonna go to Settings, Trackpad, Point and click, secondary click. And here we're gonna select click or tap with two fingers. We can also choose between click in the bottom right corner or click in the bottom left corner. Kind of like the old style, but still present on some Windows laptops, where you would press on the left or right bottom corners for right click. Anyway, personally, I prefer to have it set to tap with two fingers. I think that's a more convenient way, but you can choose whatever works for you. Good. Now that we have right click, if you're a long time Windows user, you probably try to do this on your desktop. It's 2025. We've got Windows version 11 and Windows still has a dedicated refresh option in its contextual menu. If you've got used to that, you're gonna have to get unused to that, because there is no such thing on a Mac. Never heard of it and probably never needed in the entire Apple history. However, if you wanna create a new text document, you should know that there is also no option for that. So to create a new text document, the easiest way is to just press Command Spacebar to bring up Spotlight and type text edit. Select new document, and that's about it. To save the changes, either go to File and then Save, or just press Command S and that should bring up the Finder and you can save it this way. Okay, now here's one I found really funny. When you want to scroll through a page and you scroll down, you want to reach the bottom of the page, right? That's why you're scrolling down. So down motion generates an upward movement of the content so you can reach the bottom, right? Well, in Apple's view, the so-called natural and also default way is so that when you scroll down on the trackpad, the content on the page moves down. It's like you're dragging the actual content down. So instead of reaching the bottom of the page, you reach the top of the page. So this is one of the first things I change when setting up a new Mac, because what Apple considers natural scrolling, quote unquote, feels totally unnatural to me. And if you're using a mouse, it's even more obvious. This is totally different from scrolling on a touch screen. If you want to see what I'm talking about, take your phone out, open any page you want, one that actually has some scrolling, and try to reach the bottom of the page. You'll see that you'll likely be scrolling up, not down. But again, on a phone, that seems totally natural because it feels like you're interacting with the actual content. So you're basically pushing the content up so you can reach the bottom. Anyway, to change that, go to Settings, Trackpad, Scroll and Zoom, and set natural scrolling to off. Next is tap to click, so you don't have to push onto the trackpad to click. If you feel like physically clicking, well, that's a mouthful. If you feel like physically clicking on a trackpad requires too much effort, Apple implemented a way so you can just click by tapping the trackpad, similar to a tap on your phone. To activate it, just enable tap to click in trackpad settings here. Settings, trackpad, tap to click. Now, on most laptops, dragging a window usually requires you to push on the trackpad with one finger and move the window with the other. Or double tap the window and then move it with just one finger. Well, there is a simple, though not very intuitive way to achieve this without having to physically press on the trackpad. This option is somewhat hidden under Accessibility, Pointer Control, Trackpad Options. And here you can enable 3-finger drag. That's what it's called. Now we can drag windows by just dragging with 3 fingers. Just like that. Why is this not under trackpad? I have no idea. It feels like it should be under trackpad, but it's not. Anyway, next in line is cut text versus move files. This is gonna be a fun one. And again, I'm gonna compare it to Windows since you might have already tried that before. So on Windows, if we want to cut some text or move something, the option for both is Ctrl X. And in case of files, Windows will also turn the icons into transparent ones to let you know that you're about to move those someplace else, which is very useful. Well, on the Mac, these two operations are different. You can still cut text by using Command X, so not Control but Command X, but you cannot move files using the same command. Instead, you have to copy whatever you want to move with the regular Command C option, Command Copy. And when pasting, instead of doing Command V, which would just copy the file instead of moving it, you need to do Opt Command V, so Option Command V. This is how you move files or folders on the Mac. Let me show you. So we've got this demo file here, right? And let's say we want to move it to the Documents folder, right? By the way, if you want to open this in a new tab, you can just right-click and open in new tab. So if we want to move this file, we're gonna do a Command C to copy, then go to Documents. And if we just want to copy it, we can just do a Command V, and this will copy it. But as you're gonna see, now we have two because one is in on the desktop and the other one is in Documents. So we don't want that. We want to move the file from one place to another. So we're gonna Command Z. Command Z is undo. And now we want to move the file from one place to the other. So we're gonna do a Command C. And instead of Command V, we're gonna do an Option Command V. Now, on this page, you're not gonna see anything out of the ordinary. It's normal, the file is here. But if you go here, you're gonna see that now we only have one file. And that's the one from Documents. So we no longer have, and also, as you can see, we no longer have it on the desktop. So that's how you move files on the Mac. Now you're probably proud of the Mac startup sound, right? I love it too. It's absolutely great. It's also called the Mac chime. And you might or might not want to disable it. However, if you're in a quiet environment like a library or your work office and you just start up your day and your computer, you might not want everyone to turn their heads and look at you and judge you for the noise you just created, right? So to disable that, you can go to Settings, then Sound, and play sound on startup, right? This is the option. So right now, as you can see, it's already turned off because I already turned it off. That's it. Now, when you start up your Mac, you will no longer hear that chime. Now, you'll probably notice that by default, macOS is set to minimize Windows, not Windows.
I mean Windows, not Windows.
Into the dock, but not into their corresponding application icon, which will create a bunch of extra icons into the dock. You might like it, you might not. Personally, I don't like it. I think it takes too much space on the dock, so I prefer to disable that. So if you're like me and you like your dock nice and tidy, you might want to disable this function by going to Settings, Desktop and Dock, or just by searching Dock and selecting Dock Settings, and then enabling Minimize Windows into Application icon. So right now, if I want to minimize this, since it's already enabled, I'm gonna show you. this is gonna go, see, under settings. But if this was disabled and I do this, see, it creates a separate instance of that application, which I don't want. It creates way too many icons over here in the dock. And since we're customizing our dock, you might also want to disable show suggested and recent apps in dock, this option, for the exact same reason as the one above. It just takes unnecessary space onto the dock. Now, another option I like to turn off as soon as possible is True Tone. And if you like it, more power to you. Personally, I don't. I think there's nothing true about those tones, so I like that disabled. So to disable it, just go to settings, then displays, then True Tone, and turn that off. Perfect, much better now. Now, if you've stuck around to the end, thank you so much, and as I promised, here's the bonus tip for this video. If you want to have your weather at a glance, but don't want third-party apps for that, and don't want to add it as a widget on your desktop because it takes space and maybe you want to add something else there, you can add weather information to the menu bar. For that, we need to go to Settings, Control Center, Menu Bar Only, and Weather. By default, it's gonna say don't show in the menu bar, just select Show in Menu Bar. It's gonna ask you to allow location, so just click allow, and that's pretty much it. Alright guys, that's been it. Hope you liked it. If so, please give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. See ya!